Move on to the most surprising performance. Right, most surprising performance. These are from actors, actresses, whatever, who I didn't think were going to do a very good job in this role, or or basically just I got really surprised by this. So let's start off with Moises the Race, or something like that, from Ender's Game. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, I hated this actor before this film. He was in Hannah Montana and he annoyed the shit out of me. I'm not joking. Okay, maybe not like far enough for me to have like posters and like throw nice on like Matthew Vaughn likes to show in these films. Seriously, have you seen that in what's it? What is it? Have you seriously have you seen that in X-Men First Class and Kick-Ass? He seems to love doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if there was any of his other films. It's like so hit a wall. Or that was a shuriken thing. I don't know. And First Class. I don't even know what that was. So, but basically that was meant to be Mike Neal throwing the coin at Kevin Bacon's head. Right, okay, let's move away from that. Back to Moises the Racist, or whatever he's called. But this performance was amazing. I really did not see the same annoying character that I pretty much wanted. No, I didn't want to kill him, but I hated in this performance. He just pulls it off perfectly. He really surprised me and was pretty much an asshole. He likes to play assholes, doesn't he? Hey, asshole. Call me asshole one more time. Asshole. Okay, I had to do that. Sorry, I said asshole. Right, okay, let's move on to Jim Carrey from Kick-Ass 2. Yeah, okay, I know Jim Carrey's a good actor, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. I knew that. However, was he able to pull off a superhero? Or at least a comic book character? Yes. Definitely yes. He was amazing. I'm not joking. He pulled off like this whole idea of this born again Christian, I think he was. Yeah, he is a born again Christian. Who he's like this ultimate badass. Who pretty much you would fear if you got on the wrong side of him, and he just pulls it off perfectly. Despite the fact that he refused to, advertise the film or promote it or whatever. I'm not going to go into a rant about that. I don't really want to. I can't be bothered. This video will probably be long enough without me having to rant about Jim Carrey. But the point is, I didn't agree with it. That's all I really need to say. He was amazing. Let's move on to another performance, though, from Kick-Ass 2 as well. Olga Kurylenko. I think that's how you say it. I really need to learn how to pronounce these actors and actresses' names before I go and say them. I'll probably make a fool of myself. Right. Okay. This was perhaps one of the most intimidating performances ever. And it's even stranger when you realise that she's not even a full-time actress. She's I don't know if she's a bodybuilder. I think she's a bodybuilder. I think so. She might be a model. I don't know. I think she's either a Russian bodybuilder or a Russian model. But she was amazing in this. She was intimidating. She was very, very evil and villainous. Or at least she seemed like that. She just seemed really cold-hearted and brilliant. It was really surprising for a first-time role, or at least I think it was a first-time role. So that's all that really needs to be said. It was a first-time role, I think, and it was brilliant. It was quite intimidating. And finally, let's move on to Hunger Games: Catching Fire with Sam Claflin, I think. God, I really do need to learn how to pronounce their names. But this guy, okay, it wasn't really him. I didn't know much about him. Mainly, it was when he first appeared on the film. I was more like, who the hell are you? You look like, I don't know. It just seemed really annoying. It was just like, oh god, we're gonna have one of these really annoying characters, and this guy's gonna probably think he's amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if we were gonna get someone from Twilight popping in, or at least someone with the same background to Twilight. Did anyone in Twilight actually have a background? Maybe not. It doesn't really matter though, because this guy, as soon as he went into the actual games, he was amazing. He just showed so much emotion in the character. He just felt like a real person instead of a cardboard cutout walking around with Jennifer Lawrence and George Hutcherson. Yeah. That's what I thought he was going to be. But he wasn't. He was fine. He was actually more than fine. He was brilliant. In fact, he's probably one of my favourite characters in the Hunger Games now. I liked him that much. So, why not pop it in here? He was surprising. There we go. But, considering we were talking about Hunger Games 2, which is an adaptation, let's move on to Best Adaptation. Okay, Best Adaptation is basically the best adaptation from book, or game, or whatever. So let's move straight in, starting with The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. This was a really good film. I liked the way that it had stuff that wasn't in the Hobbit book, but brought it in a more link towards Lord of the Rings films, which was really good, and I'm glad they done that, because as much as they done it probably increased the runtime and make more money, it still worked. I still thought it was really good. Way better than the first one. That's what needs said, and that's probably all I'm going to say. Let's move on to Kick-Ass 2. This was a very good adaptation, I'm not joking. The book for this film was, it's mixed. Some people believe that it went over the top with the violence, other people don't. People aren't sure what to think. I'm kind of in the middle. I think some bits went too far, like a bit with Katie in the book. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was. I do feel that went too far, and also the kids. Those two bits went a bit too far. And I'm glad they didn't include that in the film. And that's kind of why I'm mentioning this. As much as it was a really close adaptation to the book, they changed the stuff that folk didn't like. They understood what Kick-Ass was, they understood everything like that, and they made a really good film. And finally, Catching Fire, Hunger Games. Right, ready? Okay, I'm gonna do this. Welcome to the 75th Hunger Games! I don't think I'll ever be able to be Stanley Tucci. I don't know how you pronounce his name. God, is there anyone I do know how to pronounce? Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, I do know how to pronounce her name. There we go. There's one. One person! Right, but Hunger Games 2, brilliant adaptation, really good film. Loved it. But there we go.